Buffett can make billions investing in the dark side. I want to see if I can do it too. Buffett did it by investing in Coca-Cola. Sugary drinks are addictive, and that brings an element of safety that I want, especially now. A lot of people are talking about market crashes or potential recession. Well, if people are addicted to a product, they're going to keep buying it no matter what. And the addiction that I'm investing in, the Trump administration is likely to bring a huge boost. Grab a drink, take a seat, let's talk about it. What's up, y'all? It's Brian. Before we get into this week's investment, I want to quickly recap the public YouTube portfolio. So we've got 1,300 invested. We are up a total of $103.90, which means we're up 14.66% money weighted rate of return. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not exactly sure what that means. I need to look that up because 103 up on 1,300 would be a little bit less than 10%, according to my math. So I'll look into that. As far as performance goes, we are looking good. Crocs and Hims are our two best holdings, with Zeta in second place, up quite a bit on those. Last week, we invested in Akame, or ACAM is the ticker. So made a mistake that I'm not going to be repeating in the future. I invested right before an earnings report came out, an annual earnings report. So in this case, the future guidance was reduced, meaning the company said that we don't think we're going to do as well in the future as we thought we were. Now, even though the quarterly performance was a beat, they actually exceeded their performance for that quarter, the stock price dropped by like 22 or 27%. So big time drop. So in the future, since I'm trying to remove luck as much as possible from this portfolio, I'm going to wait to invest until after big reportings come out, especially if they're right around the corner. Now, I could benefit from that. Like if they came out with a bunch of positive information, then the stock price would have jumped up and I would benefit from that lack of information. But in this case, it was to my detriment. And so in the interest of having consistent of a portfolio as possible, I'm now going to wait for those big reportings to come out. This week, I'm investing in tobacco. And now is particularly a good time because of the information that's been coming out from Trump. Will the Trump administration result in new approach to tobacco and nicotine regulation? One thing that Trump has promised to do is cut down on the illicit vape market. A lot of that is coming in from China. And so this is going to strongly benefit American tobacco companies because a lot of them are trying to transition into vaping away from the traditional combustible products like cigars and cigarettes. So if the big illicit vaping market can be cut down, that's going to benefit American tobacco. On top of that, whenever I go to Trump's top contributors, which is always interesting to look at, SpaceX is at the very top, which is interesting by quite a big margin. But if I scroll down a little bit, a solid chunk of money, British American Tobacco at $10 million. And I've seen articles where British American Tobacco is talking about how Trump has promised them that he's going to crack down on the illicit markets from China. So all good news as far as American tobacco goes. So how do I start this filter? How do I find the best American tobacco companies? I like to start with ChatGPT. Of course, British American Tobacco is probably going to be on there, but I like to go to ChatGPT and ask, give me the 10 largest publicly traded tobacco companies that can be found on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. So it comes up with Philip Morris International, Altria Group, British American Tobacco, and a few others that are clearly not on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, like Japan Tobacco Incorporated. This is on the OTC, Imperial Brands. So to me, it looks like we have 6 here. I also looked into Vector Group before and they have been bought out. So they're no longer a company. So it looks like they've got 5 companies here. I'm not going to do 22nd Century Group because they are relatively small. They're the smallest of the bunch. So I'm going to take the other 5 to have ChatGPT analyze those 5 companies. I put those companies into my new automated spreadsheet where I type in the 5 tickers, and then in the spreadsheet, it will automatically pull all of the relevant information from the internet that I want ChatGPT to look at. So here's the dashboard where I just enter in the 5 tickers. And then on each of these tabs, this is where I'm automatically scraping the web for all of the information that I want. And then it compiles it all right here in the data section. I save this file and upload it to ChatGPT right here. I have attached a sheet with 5 tables. Each table contains the financial information for the following companies. I would like you to rank them in terms of financial health, taking into account liquidity, solvency, operating efficiency, profitability, and free cash flow valuation, because I'm trying to find a company that has the best valuation. And so if I can have ChatGPT kind of narrow down my list and give me maybe the 2 or 3 that best fit my criteria, then I'll just do a deep dive on a few instead of having to do tons of work to look into all of these companies. So ChatGPT, I love it because it helps me just cut down the time to invest. It gives me a list, a table of the companies ranked. I asked it to please expand on your answer to help me understand how what logic it's using to find this ranking. And then here it gives me an explanation of the key metrics that it considered, the ranking approach, and then the results. So it's got Altria Group at number 1, Philip Morris International, Turning Point Brands, British American Tobacco, and then finally UVV. And just to look really quick at its logic that it used. So despite weak liquidity and leverage, MO's profitability and valuation and operating efficiency push it to the top. So that's why it likes MO. For Philip Morris, it looks like the main weakness here is a high debt to equity ratio. And that is a pretty serious debt to equity ratio, but it's giving me a high valuation. And so for me, I would prefer a lower valuation. So anyway, moving on, it says decent valuation with Turning Point Brands. And then for British American Tobacco, it looks like to be the best valuation for British American Tobacco. I also want to get DeepSeek's input on this because DeepSeek has been making a lot of waves lately. So let's see how DeepSeek's analysis compares to ChatGPT. First, I asked it to give me the list of the top 10 publicly traded companies. It didn't do as good of a job here. So ChatGPT has live access to the internet, whereas DeepSeek can only go so far back as it was trained. So ChatGPT has the edge for sure on tasks that require it to pull information from the internet. Next, I attached the same PDF with the information from the 5 companies. We get our ranking from DeepSeek. And I actually like this ranking a lot better because first it goes into each category and then it gives the top 5 companies in each category. So I can see that TPB in terms of liquidity is the highest, but then when I go down to solvency, it's UVV. When I go down to operating efficiency, now it's BTI, and profitability, it's MO, PM, BTI, and the free cash flow valuation, we got MO, BTI, and PM. That's probably the most important metric to me. So unless there's something that really stands out as far as their debt to equity or their liquidity and solvency, I'm probably going to push more towards the valuation. So the overall ranking that we get is MO, BTI, and Philip Morris International. And I prefer DeepSeek's logic to ChatGPT's, so I'm going to use this lineup to start my deep dive. The first company that I want to look at is Altria Group, ticker MO. They're currently trading at $55 per share, and they have a fat dividend at 7.4%, which is nice. Just adds a little bit more safety and a little bit more consistency to my returns on this stock, because if the market freaks out and the stock price drops way down, if their profitability is not affected, they're still paying out the dividend, and I'm still going to get that 7.5% every year, no matter what the stock price is doing. Assuming their fundamentals are still good, which is important. When I go to the forecasting section to see what do the analysts think about their future performance, I like to go down to the revenue growth, and there's a pretty good spread. The highest analysts are saying around 5% revenue growth for the next 4 years, and the lowest analysts are saying a little bit of shrinkage, 3.8% to 9% revenue drop year over year. What I do is I take these forecast metrics and I paste them into my free cash flow analysis spreadsheet. So I pasted that information right here. And this spreadsheet, after I put in the ticker, it will automatically calculate the free cash flow valuation using the future free cash flow analysis method. So currently they have an average past free cash flow margin of 40%, which is really, really profitable. 40% of their revenue comes back to them as free cash flow. So that's great. I'm assuming 0% revenue growth, 0% over the next 5 years, and then 0% for perpetual. And that goes to my projection. So assuming 0 growth forever, they're just buying back shares, which they do consistently. Right here, we can see their share count is dropping. They bought back in 2021, 0.75%. They bought back 2%, 1.5%, and 3%. So they're buying back shares. They're paying a dividend. So even if their revenue never grows again, my projection is $54 per share. And when I compare that to their current share price, $55, that looks really great. Now, if I'm curious, what does the company say about its future growth? What I can do is I can go to their press release on their investor relations page, and they give their 2025 full year guidance. They're saying they're anticipating a growth rate of 2 to 5%. For my projection, I'm going to go ahead and use the company's projection of 2 to 5%. I'll just shoot for the middle here. I'll throw 3% in there. So 3% for the next 5 years, 3% for the 5 years after that, and then 3% going into perpetuity. That brings my projection up to 105. So if they're able to just grow at 3% revenue per year, my projected share price is 105. Now, if we look at the analyst projections, they're looking at 69 at the lowest and 120 at the highest. So this stock is looking really great, especially if I evaluate it based on just 3% growth rate into perpetuity. So, and that's coming from the company's own guidance. Now, for safety's sake, and taking into account their past performance. So if I go to their financials once again, and I see their past revenue, they've actually been shrinking in revenue over the last 3 years. I get that the company is saying they're going to grow by 2 to 5, but their past performance actually shows some shrinkage. For my own conservative calculation here, I'm going to assume 0% growth. So this is the number I'm going to roll with, 54 as the fair share price. Maybe not the worst case scenario. The analyst low projection puts it at 41, but solid upside, because if we get 3% growth, then I'm looking at almost 100% gain. Altria Group is looking really good. The second tobacco company I want to look at is British American Tobacco, ticker BTI. They're currently trading at $37.92 per share, and they have a dividend of 7.81%. So once again, I'd like to see the fat dividend. Now, they had a big sell-off right here on February 21st. So we're already learning from our past lessons. I waited until they came out with their future guidance. Their future guidance was also a little bit weaker than what they had previously said. They also came out and said that they're setting aside, I think, $7 billion for a lawsuit that they think they're going to have to pay. So with that information, investors sold out big time. And so their share price looks to be on a discount. So let's see how they match up on the free cash flow evaluation. When I go to the forecast section, so the first thing I like to check, there's a wide spread on what the analysts believe. The highest analyst projections are saying 10% growth, 13, whereas the lowest are saying a little bit of shrinkage, similar to Altria Group. Once again, I'm going to paste those figures into my spreadsheet. So I forgot to go over the discount right before. It's slightly higher for BTI. The way I get that information is I go to alphaspread.com, and I like to use the cost of equity, and they calculate this using the risk-free rate of return plus the beta for the stock price. Currently it's 7.34 for British American Tobacco. For Altria Group, it was 7.19, so they're pretty similar. This is just the amount that I'm discounting the future free cash flow. This roughly refers to how risky the stock is. So these stocks are pretty flat. They don't really have a ton of volatility. Stocks that have high dividends that are mature companies are generally going to have a lower cost of equity. So that's what we're going with. Now let's look at what does the company say about its future guidance. So once again, going to investor relations. On their fact sheet, they originally had a growth guidance of low single-digit figure organic revenue growth. And for 2025, they say they are targeting progressive improvement on that. And then 2026 and beyond, they're saying 3 to 5%. So sounds familiar. However, what have they been doing? They say low single figure organic revenue growth for 2024, but their actual performance, let's go to their financials. Their actual performance was a 5% reduction. So once again, even though the company's guidance is saying small growth, I'm going to use 0% growth in my calculations. Let's see how it compares to Altria. With 0% growth, I'm looking at my projection of $44 per share. And given their current share price is $38 per share, even with zero growth, they're looking really good. They're actually a bigger discount than Altria Group. Now, whenever I look at the analyst low projections, which is accounting for shrinkage going into the future, the downside is very, very minimal. So I would say British American Tobacco looks to be more on sale than Altria Group. In my mind, this is going to be the superior investment. But before I make my decision, I'm going to check the third ranking company, which was Philip Morris International, ticker PM, is currently trading at $154 per share and 40 cents, a little bit of a lower dividend, and they have bumped up in share price quite a bit lately. So a lot of times when I'm looking for companies that are on discount, that's normally a bad sign. In the last year, they've gone up 72%. So they've had really good performance lately. They're currently trading at all-time highs. So just taking that into account, let's look at their forecast. Maybe there's a good reason why they're trading at such highs. As far as revenue projections, it all looks really good, actually. I'm seeing 13, 14 for the highest analyst projections, and then a little bit of shrinkage for the lowest, but not as much as the other companies. So I'm going to paste this into my spreadsheet. I'm also going to use a cost of equity for Philip Morris of 7.19. And after entering in that data with 0% future growth, my projection is $73 per share, assuming zero growth, which is about half of what their current share price is. So this company is definitely trading at a bit more of a premium. However, it looks like they're more likely to have future growth than the other company. So maybe putting 0% growth isn't quite fair, especially when I go to their financials. I'm actually seeing really good growth over the last 5 years. Since 2020, they've done nothing but grow. So that looks really good. The only red flag with this company is, one, the valuation is a little bit high. When I go to their ratios page, I can see their price to free cash flow ratio. This is one of my favorite metrics for seeing, is a company undervalued or overvalued. Their price to free cash flow is higher than the other companies, and it's high relative to their past price to free cash flow ratio. So I'm going back year over year and I'm seeing 13, 14, 12. And then back here, okay, we see 22 once again, but that's in 2017. And we all know what happened in 2017. We had the financial crisis. So maybe that's a little bit unfair for this company to get dragged down, but we are back to 2007 valuations for this company. So they do seem to be relatively high. But just for the sake of it, let's go back to the spreadsheet. Let's assume that they get 3% growth for the next 5 years, 3% for the 5 years after that, and 3% going into the future. And now my projection is in line with the future share price. So what does that tell me? It tells me that this company is priced for future growth, whereas the other two companies are currently priced for zero growth or shrinkage. So given that I think there are some significant tailwinds coming into the future with the Trump administration, I think that these companies are undervalued, and more so than Philip Morris. I think Philip Morris is priced accurately right now, whereas the other companies, they may be slightly more risky, but they are significantly undervalued. There was one more red flag. When I go back to DeepSeek and I see why was it ranked third, it lists high leverage. So let's really quickly, let's look at their balance sheet and see what kind of leverage are we talking about. Their total current assets, this is cash and cash equivalents. This is the money that they have to pay off their upcoming debts. They have 20 billion in total current assets. When I go to their total current liabilities, they have about 23 billion. So they have more in liabilities than they do in their cash and cash equivalents. Now, because they're reliably moving their inventory, they have strong profitability, they're probably fine to cover their total current liabilities. However, this is interesting. When I go to their total liabilities, they have 71.6 billion in total liabilities. So the total equity, this is their total assets minus their total liabilities, they're worth negative 11.7 billion. So this company has lots of debt. That is also an element of risk. I'm looking for some safety with this investment. I'm looking for some consistent returns, whether the market goes down or up, and a company that has really high leverage and they're already priced fairly, even though they have better growth prospects. I don't think I'm going to be investing in Philip Morris. I'm going to go with British American Tobacco. Now, in this video, ChatGPT and DeepSeek had limited input, but if you want to see their full capability, check out this video right here. Cheers. Oh, that's a good one. Henry McKenna, aged 10 years. Fresh crack. Oh, that one's delicious. Highly recommend.